If you're not different, you are invisible. Think of your brand like a costume at a party. If everyone shows up in black suits and you walk in wearing a neon spacesuit, you basically own the room. So every industry has a status quo. The status quo is the suits everyone is wearing, and you're trying to find how you can become the neon spacesuit. You want to find the normal way things are being done, and then become a standout brand and break those rules that everyone else is following. So yeah, great brands, they study what other brands in their niche are doing, and then they do the opposite. That is the essence of branding. So let's go through some famous brands that have done this really well. First one is Liquid Death. So Liquid Death, they sell water, and they made it this death metal-y, edgy feel to it. And this is what existed in the industry before. I want to drink electrolytes. I want to drink natural electrolytes. I want to live young. You had other brands talking about water coming from the mountains and how pure it is. Liquid Death says, don't be sacred, it's just water. So they go from this very pure and clean look to death metal skull look. And they did the opposite. Instead of pure, they went death. They naturally stand out because they studied the competition and did the opposite. Same thing is true with Cards Against Humanity. Cards Against Humanity is adults' card game. And before, you can see most games, board games, card games, were family friendly. There's an ad for Monopoly up here that talks about Monopoly is for learning to cope with losing and learning how to express our emotions. It's funny, but it's also focused on being family and developmental. And you can see Cards Against Humanity ads. This year we are thankful for, fill in the blank, the pizza delivery guy. Or I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath, and then it's the influence of alcohol. So like these are things that you're like, wait, what? Like, they cause you to take a second look because no one is saying these things in card games. And so they're like, okay, everyone's doing a family friendly game. We're not going to do a family friendly game. We're going to do something that's a little bit more extreme. And they did the opposite. It gets people attention and the brand spreads. One more is Oatly. The founders of Oatly knew that the alternative milk market was growing, so oat milk was growing, and what every other brand was doing was trying to sound like they were still milk. So Silk, right here, it says milk of the land, and it's coconut milk, I believe. But everyone else that wasn't true milk was trying to act like they were milk still. And Oatly said, you know what? Screw milk. We're going to say milk is terrible for you, and we're going to do it in the most sarcastic ads possible. So it's like milk, but made for humans. And then you can see their sarcasm up here. You actually read this, total success. So again, they looked at the status quo. All these other alternative milk companies are trying to sound and look like milk and use cows and milk on their cartons. And they're like, you know what? We're going to do super sarcastic wording. We're going to make fun of milk and do the opposite of what these brands have done, and it worked for them. Third is Patagonia. Patagonia is about recycling, and they have an famous ad called "Don't Buy This Jacket," and that stood out because in the fashion industry and clothing, people are encouraged to buy more and more and more new fashion trends. People's closets get stuffed and overstuffed. So putting an ad out saying "Don't buy this jacket" is totally the opposite of what the fashion industry typically tells you. And because of that, they stood out and they were able to grow a brand. So I'm going to put in the description below some more examples of brands and what the status quo is and how they disrupted it to give you more ideas of how you can do this. But if you have a product that you're interested in building a brand around, what you should be doing is looking at your industry status quo. Like, what's the main message all these brands are doing? Look at the about page of 4 or 5 competitors, list what they're about, and then look at what they're not doing, do the opposite, and own it. That's how you create a brand that people notice and love and never forget.